Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi Corner. This is episode number 277, Enemy Mine, the classic 1985 film celebrating its 40th anniversary next month, starring Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. And with me tonight to discuss this classic is my friend, my co-host, the one and only, Mr. Ross Amico. Hey, Ross.
Oh, hi, Roy. I was just here deleting emails. There's a notice that comes up before the show. It says, be prepared because, you could go on at any time. And I thought that was, the host could have you on at any time. So I thought that was kind of amazing. Yeah. Since 7 o'clock. So, yeah, hi.
Hi, I'm just going to warn everybody, we're rusty. I'm rusty. Ross and I have to light the we have to light the matter and the antimatter and have it collide so it turns into this big flare.
I got to get this visual thing straightened out here. Ever since I got this new computer, I'm all washed out here.
Oh boy, you know what they say about technology.
The old computer was so much sharper, the camera. I'm sure there's something I could do with the settings, but I haven't been able to straighten it out.
Nah, that's all good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to say hi to the folks out there before we get started. And I see Lou is joining us from Rhode Island. Hey, Lou.
Hope you're doing okay.
Good seeing you out there, Lou. And thanks for joining us tonight. And Martin is joining us from New York. Welcome, Martin. And Randy Lee is joining us from Wisconsin, and he's saying, "Hey, Ross, it is this answer." Oh no!
Well, it's nice to know that one of our tormentors has gone on to better things. Hell, Norway.
Oh boy, what was that like? That was what, about 4 or 5 years ago now?
Yeah, only long-time viewers, which are the only viewers we have, by the way.
Yeah.
Remember the heckler from Hell, Norway.
Oh my goodness. And Shari is out there joining us downstairs, and she's saying, "Hey guys, saw this in the movies. We don't care if you are into Rusty. We just love to see you guys together."
Aww. Like the Tin Man. Yeah.
There you go. And I shouldn't say we're Rusty. I'm saying I'm Rusty.
No, we're Rusty. It's funny. I came down here and I was all set to go, and yeah, my table's piled high with stuff, and I've got my Sherlock Holmes costume still on the table. And it's like, boy, we haven't done this in a while.
I know. I'm clearing cobwebs off of the computer and screen, and I'm trying to resync whatchamacallit, StreamYard, and there are all these updates that have had a elementary, my dear Ross, elementary.
It's like, how long ago was Halloween? Like,
I know, right? It was 2 weeks ago, and that wasn't even on this show. We were doing a crossover with Mike and Mary Beth on their show.
Yeah.
That's funny. Hey, May's out there joining us. She's joining us from Canada. Welcome, May. And Martin said, "Tangra with arms wide." Yes, Tanagra with arms wide open. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Star Trek Next Generation reference to Darmok and Picard at Tamagra.
I missed the end joke.
His eyes wide open. It's
the eyes, Rex.
Yes, the eyes, Rex. Yeah,
the eyes.
It's we'll talk about that. In fact, it's probably it's a Star Trek connection to this movie. And Randy said maybe it was a tribute to your show.
We demand royalties. We need to have a piece of the action here. Just like Vic Tayback.
Yeah, exactly right. Where's Mel? Where's Mel when you need him in the diner? So anyway, how are you doing, Ross? What's going on?
I have my Friday night set aside to romp and to dazzle and kick up my heels with Roy. How about you?
I wish I could say it was is exciting, Ross.
I know it's pretty bad when when I'm the more ebullient of the two of us, because I'm always like the grouch. We switched. It was a little Freaky Friday thing we did here tonight for the viewers. I'm going to be Roy, and you're going to be Ross.
I'm going to be Ross. R&R.
We did Freaky Friday. We should have done that. We should have switched personalities.
You know what? I was just going to say, didn't we cover that movie? And we did.
We did.
I thought so. Yeah, that was quite a while ago too.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's been a lot of stuff. You know, I want to give a mention to, and you had brought it up. You said you just heard about it. Sadly, for our longtime viewers out there, Ralph Sinensky passed away a few weeks ago, and I think he was 102, and it was really eerie because what had happened was I think it was on a Saturday that I was riding, and I was thinking I really need to check in with David Frankham. And for those of you that watch the show and everything regularly, David Frankham, and we've had David Frankham on with Jonathan, and David has been friends with, as well as Jonathan, but David more so has been friends with Ralph Sinensky for many, many, many years. I mean, dating back to the Star Trek years. As many folks out there know, Ralph Sinensky was a prolific director of television. I mean, his credits are endless, and he was on the show. And I believe it was probably about close to 5 years ago. And he was just amazing. I mean, and at the time, I believe he had to be about 97. But the level of detail that man had in just reciting dates and memories and just, different things that, the different people he worked with. And I remember asking him about a specific show and if, about doing it. And he was like, Roy, no, I didn't do that show. And I don't even remember what it was, but, in talking, if he sadly he's not with us anymore, but if he were to be, I'm sure he would have been able to say, well, you were talking about such and such, but he was incredible and they were friends. And for part of the show that he was on, David Frankham and Jonathan came on just to wish him the best. And I think maybe it was even we were celebrating Ralph's birthday too. I'll have to go back and check. But anyway, it was a very special episode. And for whatever reason, it just got me I was thinking about David Frankham, and it was really odd because literally, I think within 24 hours, the announcement came that he had, in fact, it was Edwin. Edwin had messaged me to let me know, to say that, Ralph had passed. And it just really shook me up because it was there was that connection. I was thinking about David Frankham, and then here, Ralph had passed. So anyway, and David had posted on his Facebook page, for the folks out there that follow David Frankham, who's an incredibly nice guy and who will be celebrating his 100th birthday next year. So his 100th birthday is coming up in the next couple months. So I'm hoping we can have him on the show if he even just for a few minutes, just if he's, available, or maybe around the time of his birthday, just to wish him a happy birthday. And we've done it the last couple of years, but yeah. And he was a dear friend of theirs. So it's very sad that he passed, but I wanted to give mention to that because we really haven't, discussed anything about that. And Ross had even mentioned it before the show. So, but yeah, it's crazy. And then June Lockhart, as we know from Lost in Space, she recently, I think she passed away about a week prior to Ralph passing. And she was literally 100 years old too. So it's just a lot of folks in the entertainment industry, and not only folks that, are people that we know now, but these are folks that are from the golden age of television. I mean, and have really just had made so many amazing contributions. And yeah, it's also crazy. So not to be morbid, not to be on a negative note, but just a kind of, remembrance. So anyway, that's that.
Well, on to brighter things.
Yeah, like Enemy Mine. That said, Ross, as I always like to ask you, did you see this movie in the movie theater?
I did.
You did, okay.
I did. It was back from when I saw almost everything. I was still seeing everything in the theater at that point. So it's like, all right, it's a science fiction movie. It's got Dennis Quaid. It's got Lou Gossett. I'm going. I'll be there. And I did see it, yeah. And despite the fact that I still suggested maybe we could do it here on the show. What was the first time you saw it?
Probably within the last week.
Okay.
No, in all seriousness, so here's the thing about this movie. I remember it being out. I remember them advertising it. And when you, and this is marketing, this and it actually really ties into this too. So there is a connection here as I go down the rabbit hole of what we're discussing. So I guess it's a legitimate rabbit hole. It's not like going off on a tangent. It's, we're not digressing, as we like to say. When you have a thought from when you see something now, like for example, right here, this says it all right here. So with that movie, the motion, the movie poster, and it says enemies because they were taught to be, allies because they had to be, brothers because they dared to be. So with that said, I knew the movie was about a human and an alien that pretty much did not like each other. And this is, that pretty much were enemies. And then they were forced to coexist. And that's all I knew about this. Mm-hmm. And it was like, and I just let it go, sadly, because honestly, I know this movie got a bad rap in the theater when it was out 40 years ago. The critics were not like in favor of it. It has since turned into a cult type of film, but there's a lot of meaning in this movie and there is a lot of substance. And, I was actually before the show, just like rewatching a couple scenes, and I got teary eyed from it. I mean, it there's a lot of substance with it, and it's a shame that they didn't market it. And I'm not sure how they would have gone about it, because essentially that poster says it all, but it's a shame that it wasn't conveyed in more of a deeper manner, because I think maybe it would have affected the viewership and the outcome of the film. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think you're like the nightmare audience that the studio was fearing. The people they were trying to lure in, because that was a criticism that was leveled against both the poster and the tagline, the lengthy tagline, 3 sentences, that they were afraid that it wouldn't hook viewers and cue them into what kind of movie it was, even though it does do that. And
don't get me wrong, I'm a sci-fi guy, as you know. It's like, as you said, what lured you in. You're dealing with, really Randy Quaid. I was aware of his name, but I was not aware of
Dennis
his work.
Quaid.
Or not Randy Quaid, excuse me. Dennis Quaid.
Yeah. Randy's the
right.
the brother. Yeah,
that's the brother, right? So I was aware of him. Louis Gossett Jr. My God, he's got his resume. It's amazing. And I remember him from An Officer and a Gentleman. Academy Award winner.
Sure.
He's done extensive theater. Even back then, I was aware of him. The Powers of Matthew Starr. That was a television production.
Roots.
And that's like
he was Fiddler in Roots.
Right. He was Fiddler. Yeah. He was in Roots. Again, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
But it just didn't grab me. And for whatever reason, I just kind of steered away from it. And and there's really no reason for it to have done it, but I just was just like, it's just going to be a battle movie. And then they hate each other and then they're forced together. And then it's going to be, maybe they'll work it out. You know what I mean? And it was like, surprising what it was going to be even before seeing the movie. And I just really didn't have a desire to see it. And that's, like you said, I was the nightmare. I was the negative. I was you, Ross, and you were me.
I was like, what's at the movies tonight? I go see this. But the reason I picked it is because I thought, well, we haven't done we came off of like a horror month, in Halloween. I said, I was thinking, well, let's do something sci-fi, because I know you like, I keep drifting off into these, fantasy movies and stuff that have tangential relation to sci-fi. And I thought, well, what movies from the 80s have we not done yet? And this one was one that I had thought of, and that's why I suggested it. So I'm glad that ultimately you enjoyed it.
No, absolutely. And I was totally open to covering it for the show, but I'm talking about as far as like 40 years ago. That was my explanation for not wanting to see it then.
Yeah.
When you said about seeing it, I thought, absolutely. Never saw it. Thought it would be interesting. And it's definitely sci-fi. And the cast is, remarkable. Well, I mean, you're dealing with, Dennis Quaid, and you're dealing with Louis Gossett Jr. So, I mean, right out of the box. So, yeah, we should definitely cover it.
Yeah, yeah. And
even Harry saw this movie in the theater, and I had not.
Yeah, and it has that emotional core
to
the film, where the two characters who are from opposite races, in this case on different planets, they're having this interplanetary war over this contested area that the Earth is colonizing. But they have a different view of what each side is kind of has a spin on what they're doing there in that area. And they hate each other. And then of course, once you get to, but they said nobody's actually seen one. That's the thing. Nobody's actually spent time together. And when they're forced together like this, they're forced to recognize one another's, I use the term loosely, humanity, and you get to know the other person. And it's very true. And the thing about it, I mean, it's an old story. I mean, it's a story that's been told before. The Defiant Ones with Sidney Poitier and Tony Curtis, where they're on the chain gang and they escape and they hate each other, and but they're forced to work together, and then they wind up developing this bond. Or Hell in the Pacific with Lee Marvin and Toshiro Mifune, where they meet each other on an island, and they're the only ones there during World War II, and eventually, they start to rely on one another to survive and for companionship. It's just like this, the same story, and we've seen it in TV shows also.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The Planet of the Apes did an episode like that, where they get sealed into a subway, and the ape and the man they're forced to, they come to a understanding of one another, and they're forced to call a truce and work together. And we've brought this up before for other movies. I can't remember in what relation, but Galactica 1980, which I know we're not even supposed to mention on this show. The only episode that anybody likes is the one with Starbuck, and it has a similar premise.
You're absolutely right. That's a prime example. And out of all of those episodes, those 6 episodes, you're right. That's the one I tolerate and enjoy. For the obviously, even though you got Gary Owens is the voice of the Cylon. Did you remember that?
No, I did not.
I mean, oh my God. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
Or worse than that. But just a couple of comments. Randy was saying it's a story of a single dad trying to raise an alien baby in the 80s.
Yeah, how about that twist? Let's see. I watched a Sunday night movie. Okay.
Yep, exactly. And then Randy also said, "Can't two divorced men live together without driving each other crazy?" Yeah,
the Odd Couple. Exactly. The Odd Couple on another planet.
But I'm going to jump into this really quickly because we like to do the Star Trek connection. So before I put one of the Star Trek connections up, I'm going to put the other one. But actually, there's a couple that I have. So there was a Star Trek The Next Generation episode entitled The Enemy. I believe it was a 3rd season episode where Geordi and a Romulan are marooned together on a planet, and they're essentially trying to help each other with, existing and getting off. And yes, I see Randy about UFO. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I just watched that episode it's with Michael Billington and I'm sorry, Martin. With Michael Billington and the alien. The UFO crashes, and then Michael Billington's Foster's ship crashes, and they're on the moon's surface, and they're trying to help each other. And in the way UFO is, it's a great ending, and I'm not going to spoil it for those folks that haven't seen it. Martin also mentioned this one before. Now, this one, Ross, this is, whoops, I had the screen on. Darmok. This was a 5th season episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And again, it's where the two are going up against this beast, and Darmok wants Darmok is dealing. The whole premise is dealing with Picard and I can't think of Paul Winfield's character's name in the episode. Are working together against this alien, and then sadly Paul Winfield's alien dies, and then Picard is left to defend. But it was to try to bring the two cultures together. And then if you're a Star Trek Enterprise fan, there's an episode called Dawn, which deals with this as well, too.
You should call it the, instead of enemy mine, it should be the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
But,
oh, hey, John, thanks for joining us. And he said that was a quote from the movie, by the way. Oh, yeah, about driving each other crazy. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It was.
Well, I thought that was from...
that is from the Odd Couple.
Yeah.
But I think when they're freaking out, they drop that line,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the thing is that I think it's a strong story. It was based on a science fiction story, a novella that appeared in Isaac Asimov's science fiction magazine, that digest. And as late as 1979, whenever I think of those things, I always think that they're pulpy, you know what I mean? But it was not many years before they made the movie that the thing came out. And the writer, whose name was Barry B. Longyear, won all kinds of awards for it. He won a Hugo, or not it was a Nebula, not the Hugos. He did win a Hugo. Nebula, Hugo. I was thinking of the Edgar, which is the mystery. He won a Nebula, he won a Hugo, and he won a Campbell, James W. Campbell, the guy who did Don't Look Now, who this made the story into the Thing. Well, anyway, he was a big science fiction, editor and what have you, and they gave the author Longyear the award for best, new writer or something like that. So it got a lot of notice, and he wrote a couple of sequels to it, but they were shorter books. They were like novellas. They were long stories, not quite novels. And but it had a good solid premise. And from what I can tell, not having read the stories, it looks like it follows it pretty closely until you get to the third act of the movie, when they get into the whole enslaving of the race of Drax with the what are they? The pirates or whatever they are. Who are the guys, the humans that come to the planet and try to exploit the planet using slave labor? What's that?
The scavengers.
Scavengers. Yeah. The whole scavengers thing, I think they added to the movie because there was something else that happens in the story in the third act that was not as dramatic. It was dramatic in a story, but it was not dramatic visually. And even though I think it followed the story pretty closely otherwise. Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
Yeah, John, I was saying about the other quote, and he said, no, I quoted your Mickey Mouse is Google, but I'm not sure. He said it was removed from the chat. No, I'm sorry, John. I didn't see it.
All right. But yeah, so anyway, it was a strong story. But I think the screenplay, even though it's the guy who wrote Lady Hawk and the Merlin TV series, his name is Edward Kamara.
Okay.
I thought the screenplay could have used. I thought it was weak. Because when the insult is Dennis Quaid calling Lou Gossett's character Toad Face and stuff.
Right.
It's over and over. Can't they do anything more? It was so kind of lowest common denominator, and I don't know, maybe his character was supposed to be one note like that before the transformation, before he became more empathetic and more, not as hostile. But I thought they could have written better dialogue. In other words, the actors did a good job with what they had, and I thought Lou Gossett was exceptional. They're both good. Dennis Quaid has star power.
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely.
He's got that undefinable, um, you know, what is it like the what do you call it? He's got star power.
Charisma. He's got charisma.
He's got charisma, and I'm actually surprised he never became. I'm not going to say he's not a big star. He's a big star, but he never got as many like big hit A pictures as I thought he would have gotten. Because I remember from Breaking Away in 1979, which is about set in the Midwest, and there's a kid there who's graduated from high school, and he's kind of holding back from college, and he's obsessed with bicycle racing, and it's about the townies and the kids in the college there, and it's a great movie. And Paul Dooley plays the father. It's a really low key, small budget, but it was nominated for Best Picture that year. It's my favorite movie in 1979, Breaking Away, and he was great in it. That was the first thing I ever saw Dennis Quaid in, and I thought this guy's going to be a star. And sure enough, within a few years, he was in a bunch of stuff. By the time this was out, of course, we'd seen him in The Right Stuff and a bunch of other. He was well enough known that when he was in The Right Stuff, you'd see him and you'd say, "Oh, it's Dennis Quaid." So even though he wasn't making like the Harrison Ford movies,
right?
He was getting all the. It seemed like he was getting all the movies Harrison Ford would reject.
He probably was.
Yeah,
indirectly.
And he's still around making. He just did the Reagan movie, played Ronald Reagan.
It's crazy because he's 71 years old, and he was like 30 when he did this movie. Because this film they started filming this in April of '84, and it started out with a different director, and then what happened was it wasn't going the way they wanted. I guess where the location they were filming it, I believe in Iceland, and they were saying that Iceland looked like Iceland. It didn't look like an alien planet. And they were just really having the studio executives were really having a problem with it. And what they did was they actually put it on hiatus. And then that's when Wolfgang Peterson came in. But this was delayed by months. I think it wasn't until maybe November or December of '84 that they actually started filming the movie. It was delayed at least 7 months. And they had to scrap the film, the film that was done by the original director. So by that point, they had spent, millions of dollars, and you're talking back in 1984. So even if it was only, and I'm saying only, I'm using that very loosely. If they only spent like about 10 or 11 million dollars by today's standards, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money then, but it's even more money, today.
Absolutely. Yeah, the original director is Richard Longcrane, and I looked him up because I didn't recognize the name, but I've seen a lot of his movies. He did a comedy with Michael Palin and Maggie Smith called The Missionary, which I'm sure nobody's seen, but it's a funny film. But he did the Ian McKellen Richard III, where they reset it in the fascist setting, which was a big deal at the time. Brimstone and Treacle is kind of a cult film. Sting is in it, and Denholm Elliott. And he did Firewall, which is one of Harrison Ford's later movies that wasn't really well reviewed. But he did win a prime time.
Was that in the mid '80s, Ross?
No, Firewall was much later than that.
Was it?
That was in the 2000s. Yeah.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking of, and it's not Harrison Ford. I'm thinking of Firestarter, and that would have been with Drew Barrymore. But that
was Stephen King. Yeah, I never saw that one. Yeah. But he did win an Emmy for working on Band of Brothers, the Steven Spielberg World War II miniseries, or it's not really a miniseries, a series. He was one of the group of directors, and they won primetime Emmys collectively for their work on that. So that was the guy. And they originally, as you said, shot it in Iceland and were working in Budapest, but they didn't they didn't think it looked otherworldly. How can you not make Iceland look otherworldly? They should have just gone to New Zealand. It was before New Zealand became all the craze for the fantasy movies and stuff. But yeah, so Peterson took over. And they went to the Canary Islands, and there's this national park there, the Montaña del Fuego, where they filmed all the volcanic stuff.
Yep. Cool.
And then he took all of that volcanic rock. I don't know how he got it out of there. They got it from someplace, and they shipped it all to West Germany, to Munich, to build these sets, these enormous sets. And I have to say that I think the special effects in the movie and the set design is pretty strong for a lot of it. some of the forests and things, you can tell they're on a sound stage.
Yeah.
But the special effects, I thought, wow, for 1985, they hold up pretty well.
Yeah, and we're so accustomed to, with ILM, because ILM is like the Disney of effects and everything. But if having another effects house that's doing productions, it's like it doesn't kind of measure up. It's just the way it is. And yeah, I agree with you, Ross. In regards to the set designs and everything, they really did a really, really nice job with it. Sherry just commented and said Dennis Quaid is in Happy Face on Paramount also. He's a twin prisoner serial killer. His daughter knows an innocent man is about to be committed for a murder her father probably committed. It's funny you're mentioning that, and I remember we were seeing this advertisement for this a lot on Paramount. And yeah, I didn't even make the connection with Dennis Quaid being in that. Randy said, haven't been to Iceland. Yes, it is very alien. And Bill, hey Bill, good to see you out there. And he said it's a common trope now.
So so Peterson took over, but he was in the middle of filming The Never-Ending Story, which as I read that, I thought, of course, that's the movie we probably should have done. That would have been gotten. Oh yeah, because everybody's seen Never-Ending Story, because it was always on cable. And
in fact, the boy that was Boxy in Battlestar Galactica, Noah Hathaway, was in that movie. He was the star of the film.
The Never-Ending Story. Yeah, it was always on HBO but I never made it through the movie.
I never saw it. I remember being on, and I actually wanted
at some point.
Yeah, I wanted to check it out because I knew he was in it, but no.
I couldn't. He's flying around on some crazy giant dog that's part dragon or something. I don't know.
That's all I know about the movie too. That I had that image in my mind because that's the image that you'd always see.
Boxy and his bowl cut on a giant dog. But so anyway, Wolfgang Peterson was in the middle of filming this, so he'd take over enemy mine. And anyway, he said he wasn't interested. He didn't want anything. He didn't want to do anything to do with a Star Wars movie. And then he said, I can't do it anyway. But then they held the film for him. They said, look, we'll hold it while you finish this other movie. So that was costing, because they had to continue to pay Dennis Quaid.
Those guys were getting paid even though they weren't filming. Because they didn't want to lose them to another production. So it was almost, they kept them on. They kept them on standby. But, and this is the thing, when he read the script, he liked it because of the deep meaning that was involved with it. It wasn't just a like a sci-fi shoot 'em up type film. There was substance to the movie, and that to me is the missed opportunity with the marketing for this film.
Yeah, and they try to throw a sop to the audience at the beginning, the Star Wars people, because they have a dogfight at the beginning.
Right.
And you're like, oh, we're going to get a Star Wars dogfight. But it's funny, though, of the entire movie, I thought that was kind of the weakest part, only in the sense of how they filmed it, because we're so, Star Wars was so good with I don't have to tell you, with whenever they were in space and getting in a battle, there was, the ship was always shaking, and, they're going down the trench in the Death Star, and you really felt like you were flying, like you would be in an aircraft, because that's what he was going for, is the World War II dogfights, is what he was modeling that on. And in this one, nothing moves. Everybody's just sitting in a room. Is there one behind us? There's like it was more like a Battlestar Galactica kind of.
No, it wasn't very exciting. And I agree with you, but that piece of it, I mean, you're thinking, oh yeah, okay, there's some action going on, but that wasn't the crux of the story.
Right. And then once you get that out of the way and they're stranded on the planet together, that's when the story really starts. But interestingly, that lake that they filmed around at the beginning, I don't know if you read this or not, but that was actually the lake that they used in Never-Ending Story. But also, and I can't believe we talked about Wolfgang Peterson and we didn't mention yet that his big movie was Das Boot, which was was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film back in '81. It's the Germans on the submarine. It's a very good, exciting movie. Anti-war movie, but when I saw it, I thought, wow, this is really, really great. And then after that, it's funny how one good movie can really make your name and make you want to go see the guy's movies. Because I went to see this when I looked at his IMDb thing. It's like, oh yeah, I went to see this one, this one, this one. I've seen most of his movies, and every time I go, it's it's directed by Wolfgang Petersen, and it's like, yeah, stinko, it's never as good as Das Boot. Yeah, there you go. But anyway, it was they filmed some of the submarine stuff on that same lake, so he made good use of that studio in Munich. That was kind of the Petersen studio.
So there's there's a little bit of an Irwin Allen connection there. Reutilization of previous sets, different productions. I mean, we all know
smart.
Oh, absolutely.
It wasn't like Roger Corman where it was obviously they're shooting a few scenes in the castle they're about to tear down from the previous film. Yeah, he did that with what movie was that? The one with Jack Nicholson, The Terror. They had just filmed something with Karloff, and they were going to rip the set down, and Corman just had Karloff go around illegally shooting another movie on the set that he had just finished the movie on, and just had him ruminating or just doing things that he thought he put in another movie, but he didn't know the plot yet, so he had to do the whole plot around these scenes that he had shot from the end of another Karloff movie.
Oh my goodness. And then strike the set, strike it.
Exactly. Make use of the set though.
Don't let it go to waste. Hey, Martin said he's never seen Never Ending Story.
Yeah, none of us have. I guess we should do it sometime and just
I never
see what's going on there.
And then he says, if you want to see a weird show, check out The Singing Ringing Tree.
Wow. Is that a TV show or a movie? Singing Ringing Tree. Which to the bottom of the book. Singing Ringing Tree. I make these notes and then I accidentally throw them out. I always forget.
Never to be seen again.
I know. It's like, where'd that go? But the special effects, they had some ILM people. It wasn't an ILM movie, I don't think, but they had some ILM artists working on this, but it was mostly Chris Wallace's group, the guys who did the makeup and everything. And they worked on the visual effects for it. Chris Wallace was the guy who designed the Gremlins. Yes. And did the melting in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, that was just classic.
Yeah.
In regards to the prosthetics and the makeup, the costume, I mean, Louis Gossett Jr., I guess they started with one type of design and it looked really cheesy and it was really poorly done. So then I guess while the hiatus was going on, because they said it took, I think, about almost like 5, 6, 7 months to develop the new makeup and costume that they came up with for him. But it's very elaborate and done very, very well. And evidently he had 2 sets of contact lenses. He had a set to protect his eyes, and then he had a set that was going over that set. And then sadly, it said that the contacts that were supposed to protect him really didn't. And at one point, I guess his eyes were very, very red, or he couldn't even shut them. They were like inflamed. And he was very lucky too, because it all things considered, that it took him over close to a year to recover from it, but he didn't lose his sight. So it's kind of scary when you think of what they put him through for that.
It was kind of a plum role for him. It's surprising because Lou Gossett had such a long, illustrious career up until Officer and a Gentleman. It is like in fact, we used to talk about this all the time. We used to say it was like the curse of Lou Gossett, because as soon as it has happened to a lot of people, they have this, they work and they work and they work and they do fine work, and then they get the Oscar, and then after that, you don't get anything good anymore. But Lou Gossett really was the case. This guy has been around since the 50s.
Yeah,
he was on stage with Sidney Poitier and Ruby Dee doing Raisin in the Sun, and he was in Roots, and he was in but he does the drill sergeant there in Officer and a Gentleman, which is you play the drill sergeant, you're always the most memorable part of the movie. Like R. Lee Ermey in Full Metal Jacket. But anyway, so he won Best Supporting Actor. And then he just couldn't get any decent parts after that. He wound up being in Jaws 3D.
Yeah. It is so frustrating. I mean, well, and I don't mean to digress this way, but I used to think about like Martin Landau. I mean, there you go. I mean, it used to frustrate me too, because I mean, with that, I mean, obviously we knew him from Mission Impossible, we knew him from Space 1999, but he also did, movies before that. He was North by Northwest, and he did and I'm trying to think of the one that was oh my god, it was with 1960, was it, I don't know if it was not Julius Caesar, it was anyway, I'm not
Julius Caesar, is that what you're saying? Was he in that with
or there's another film I'm thinking of, maybe it wasn't that one,
or
Spartacus,
right?
Maybe I'm thinking of Spartacus.
Cleopatra,
thank you.
It was Cleopatra, yeah.
Cleopatra, thank you. And welcome, Gavin. Thanks for being out there. Thanks, May, too. Brain cramp on my part. But anyway, then what happened was after he came back from England from doing 1999, they were gone for like 4 years. And it's like you're out of sight, out of mind. And he really wasn't getting good work. And then he was doing a lot of the B movies. I mean, we talked about it when he did, like Meteor. There's a movie that was with Jack Palance. Evidently, there's, I think, maybe 2 movies with Jack Palance, because one he played, I think his character's name, Martin Landau's character's name was the Sarge. And it was these aliens that were, killing people, and he gets taken out. Then he did, both him and Barbara Bain did the Harlem Globetrotters, on Gilligan's Island. But then in 1987, Tucker, A Man in His Dream, and then it went the other way. You know what I mean? It was like he was recognized, and he won, got the nomination. But then, of course, he did with Bela Lugosi and Ed Wood.
Yeah, Ed Wood, in between Crimes and Misdemeanors, the Woody Allen movie. So he's getting some plum roles there later in his career. He had that second wind, and it's always like it's funny how we identify with this, because we have no connection to these actors, really. They just kind of touch us with a performance that they did at some point. And for some reason, they become part of our lives. And then we feel all gratified when they achieve this second, great kind of valedictory stage of their career, where they get recognition, get good parts and awards and everything. But so Lou Gossett, he wasn't getting a lot of good stuff. So he got he took Enemy Mine, and it turned out it's a pretty solid role. But when you look back, it I hate to say it, but it makes sense a little bit, because you forget that he was the first African-American recipient of the Best Supporting Actor Academy Award. Now it happens with regularity, so we don't really think about it as much. I mean, some people complain that, that they don't do enough, blah, 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 for minorities or what have you. But I mean, I think the field has been leveled, essentially. But back at that time, it was very unusual. So Lou Gossett gets the award. And it's like, what do you do with Lou Gossett suddenly? He probably was too expensive. Yeah. So then he winds up doing, he had solid things that made money. Like he did Iron Eagle and things of that sort. But it took a while for him to kind of get back to the point where, it wasn't just, Lou Gossett floundering after his Oscar.
It reminds me of a quote from a Star Trek episode, and it's from The Ultimate Computer, when McCoy says to Kirk, when they're talking about Dr. Richard Daystrom, who won all the awards at like 25 years of age, and portrayed by William Marshall. Yeah, you remember actor William Marshall. And McCoy says to Kirk, "Where do you go from up? Right? You hit that top. So the only other thing you can do really is keep doing roles that you're recognized for." And what's really sad is if these roles don't come your way, and that's got to be so frustrating as an actor. I mean,
and we can only speculate because we don't know what goes through people's heads when they're writing scripts or casting. But maybe they weren't writing parts that they thought, well, this will be for a middle-aged black actor. You know what I mean?
Well, and he does talk about that in an interview. I don't know if you came across this, but
no, I didn't.
About roles that, he could take them on, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for a black actor. He could do something that it doesn't say that. and he can
Right.
just do it. And that's something that he did, I think, with An Officer and a Gentleman. And, you know, he also talked about wanting to do the roles that were challenging as opposed to the ones that are easy, because it really helped him expand himself as an actor.
Oh, yeah. He started out a stage actor. Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty commendable that, you know, he had that kind of frame of mind. And he was even saying that about approaching those roles, about approaching them, you know, that way earlier on, that he didn't, but later on that he was. So, yeah, it's pretty intense when you think about it. And then he also credited, and I should have wrote it down, his mentor in New York, when because he was actually given an athletic scholarship, but he passed it out.
Yes. Well, he was offered to play for the New York Knicks.
New York Knicks, yeah.
And he said no.
He said, right.
He said, I want to do this play with Sydney. You know?
It says a lot.
Yeah. And so he followed his passion, but it's crazy that he could have been a Knickerbocker.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, sadly though, he passed away, I think in just maybe last year, or just within the last couple of years.
Yeah, so he kind of came up like just before things changed. You know, it's I think if Gossett had won the Oscar 20 years later, he wouldn't have had any problem getting half decent roles. But then I think it was you know, it was just the roles weren't there. You know, people weren't considering him for some of those parts, and I don't know why. I mean, he did get good roles again. I mean, he did wind up getting cast in things, but not always big roles. But that often happens. You kind of age into character roles. But so who knew? I mean, when we put on Enemy Mine, let's do Enemy Mine. So you got the whole thing with the warring sides, with the metaphoric enemies, but it's also got the racial kind of undercurrent now, because Luke Gossett's in one role and it becomes a metaphor for race relations. Also, in addition to different powers getting along, and then it has the whole layer that I totally forgot. I remember it happened, but it just, watching it now has a totally different impact than it did in 1985, about this whole gender fluidity. And the whole thing about the sexes, because, you know, now it's such a hot button thing. I don't even know if audiences will sit down and watch something like that without screaming about it. But then it was just a matter of fact part of the story, and people chuckled at it, you know.
Right.
The fact that there was I don't even know what you would call it, like you know, there are things that what do they call that? Where you it's not monosexuality. There's a yeah, come on. I forget my biology. It's
there's a term
where you can reproduce just by yourself.
Like asexual, not asexual.
No, it's not asexuality though. They're plants that can do it, and there are cells that do it.
Yeah. I know, I even read it when they were talking about this in the description, but I don't recall.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. I know what it is, but I'm not at a point of the day where I'm going to remember it. It's the evening, and now I have no brains whatsoever. But isn't it crazy? It's like this movie becomes movies, and there are things outside of ourselves that take on this additional richness just from things that occur outside of them. You know what I mean? Like time changes, or current events changes, or we change, and the significance of a piece of entertainment or a piece of art can change like that, and you look at it a different way, depending on if you know, something's in the news, or there's a tragedy that occurs, or, you know, something happens to one of the actors. You can't look at it the same way.
Right.
You know, and it's
they called it self-fertilization in the film.
Self-fertilization, yeah. But I can't think of the biological term, but yeah.
But that's basically what
I mean, that is biological, but that's not the thing I'm thinking of. Yeah. Careful now. Yeah. Don't worry, folks.
Ross is walking on those coals.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no interest in you know, I hope everybody knows I'm just talking.
Yeah, they do.
I'm just talking stuff. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm walking through a minefield. I know it. I always.
No, I mean, and to be fair, it's what the movie was. That's what the film was dealing with. That's the plot of the movie.
But it was.
I mean, it's it's I'm going to spell it out. AUTOGAMY. Anogamy. Autogamy.
Autogamy. Yeah, that's not what I'm thinking of either.
It's
not to say it's not
self-pollination.
Yeah, it's not that it's not that it's not a correct term. It's just not the one I'm thinking of.
That's all right. But anyway, we know what you mean. We know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We get
it.
Yeah,
so you have this whole thing, and it's played for comic effect, even though ultimately, it's got some serious consequences too. But it leads to the whole third act of the film then, which is kind of an interesting way to continue their friendship, and their level of commitment to one another.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. And here's the thing too. These two, I mean, it's funny. We're talking about different stories. They refer to the Drax as almost being like lizard-like. And right away, I'm thinking of, Kirk and the Gorn, you know what I mean? But only with that, you know what I mean? It was, there was no unity there. It's just that Kirk winds up sparing the Gorn because he feels that it's the right thing to do. He thinks about it, but really it's very similar because, when Jerry, who is Lou Gossett Jr., is talking to William, what is it? It's Will, and it's Davidge. He calls him Davidge.
Yeah, Davidge or something. Yeah.
Yeah. He says that they were explorers. They're both explorers. It's just like, and it's miscommunication, but it's turned into this war. And now they have to work together to have unity in order to survive. And, and I'm going to walk on those coals right now myself. You think about everything that's going on, in the world, and it's tough because it's like, if you think about it, we just know that these are two, the humans and the aliens are basically bitter enemies, right? And it sounds like there's been a lot of, death and destruction, and we don't know the extent of it. I mean, I don't think they really go into it to that level, but they're like mortal enemies, and they're put into this situation that they have to help each other. That's not an easy thing if you think about it. You know what I mean? And I know it's romanticize about it to a point, but it's, that, and as human beings, and if it's the right thing to do, but it's tough if you really stop to think about it, and
how many can't we just get along stories do we know of? I mean, it goes all the way. I mean, Romeo and Juliet with the Montagues and Capulets, and that wasn't the first story that did it. So
no, and what's scary is, I mean, and it probably will be, if we're still, if humankind is still on this planet, let's say 1,000 years from now, which I have my doubts, if it is, you know what I mean? I feel like that will still be going on, and it's sad. It really is. And that's why when you watch these movies or television shows from, I mean, this movie is like 40 years ago, but even if you go back even further than that, 50 years ago or 60, 70, whatever, it's the same type of theme though. It's like we're more technologically advanced as a race, but where are we when it comes to all the other stuff? And it's, and again, I want to say it's not easy, because it's like, if you think about what's happened and about, the bloodshed, it's like, how are you the first to put down and say, okay, let's be friends, right? I mean, it's like, it sounds good to do, but at the end of the day, it's like, how do you do that? I mean, it's,
right.
I mean,
well, they kind of accomplish more by not being diplomats, but by being thrown into a situation where they were kind of forced to survive.
Right. Exactly.
And that didn't keep them from trying to kill each other constantly, but
yeah.
but eventually they wore each other down.
Right. And I think it's very sentimental. And the fact is, at the end of the day, it's almost like and there's a children's animated film, and I can't think of what it is. Somebody out there will know what I'm talking about. But it's where it's dealing with animals too, which, I'm a softie with that, where the animals is it the Fox and the Hound? Is that what it is? Where they're where they're basically as child animals, they get along because they don't know any better. You know what I mean? It's like they're friends. It doesn't matter what their race is, or what their heritage is, or in that case, what the one's a fox and the other one's a hound. It doesn't matter. It's just that when it becomes like a learned behavior that they're supposed to not like each other, right? And that's the sad thing about it all.
What's nature and what's nurture?
Yeah.
But the thing is that I won't go too much into it, but we're tribal by nature. Humans are tribal by nature. It's us and it's them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you get people that are, that want to hang on to power or manipulate things for their own ends, and then they play the people, because the people that Dennis Quaid's character Davich is working with, they don't know anything about what's going on here. They're in some war that they don't know anything about. They just assume that these guys are all evil because they've never seen them, and they're just fighting. And so it's, in a way, I think that the Lou Gossett character Jerry is what he calls him. It seems to be more open. He learns his language for one thing, and
right, exactly. And that's a very sentimental moment. Bill's saying, by the way, parthenogenesis. Is that what you were thinking of?
Parthenogenesis, it could be.
It's hysterical. The last time I heard that term,
parthenogenesis,
was in a sci-fi television show. Anybody out there have a guess what show it was where that term was mentioned? And it cracking up because of what it was and how they utilized it. But anyway, yes, Bill, perspective changes. And Shari said seahorses, the male has the babies.
No, really?
That's interesting.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's like Mork and Mindy.
Yes.
Do they come out like Jonathan Winters?
Nanu. Yeah, really. Martin said V. Yeah. Parthenogenesis. But so that's that. Anyway, where were we going with all this? Sure. Lou's coming. Lou's got it. Oh, lost. Oh, wait a minute. Lou's saying lost in
Space Australia. Lisa.
Space Australia. It's funny, Lou, that parthenogenesis, I'm thinking of Lost in Space.
The carrot?
No, what happened was, it wasn't that episode. It was the other, it was a third season episode. It was Flaming Planet. Abraham Sulfur, who was a character actor, was the guest star. And Professor Robinson says he said he didn't type that. What? He said he didn't type that at all.
Huh.
Uh-oh.
Maybe it got, something got hit on there and it took off with it. I don't know if it's like autocorrect or something, or did somebody hack you, Lou?
Oh, geez.
It's his evil twin.
I wouldn't, with the internet, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. No.
But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so
it was Lost in Space. That's the thing. Like who?
Yeah, that's fine.
It has to be Lou's evil twin.
Lost in Lisa. Wow. Anyway,
Lost in Canned Ham.
I got thrown off there.
You Lost in Space with the
the computer. It's all good, Lou. Yeah. But anyway, check it out. But what happens is it's the plant that that Professor Robinson, he says it's parthenogenesis, and what it does is it self-replicates. The plant. It was like this monster plant. Anyway.
I had the amusing thought in watching this with Dennis Quaid, Davich, and Lou Gossett as Jerry, that this could have played somewhat as a prequel to Dragonheart. since Dennis Quaid is in Dragonheart and he has the friendship with the dragon there, I thought maybe, because they're both reptilian and he's
right.
Yeah, forget it. But yeah, there was more to that though. So they build this shelter, and they find this. Now the thing is, the special effects are great. Production design's pretty good in some of the scenes. Some of them, like I said, you can tell it's on a soundstage. And then they go and they do these little turtle creatures that look like they're like the knockoffs for like the stuff they threw away from Jim Henson's studio and the Sarlacc pit. It's they went and did so well with the other stuff, and then they do the stuff that's almost like puppets. So it's almost like it is a little pulpy in that respect that they had this, but for some reason Dennis Quaid's character picks up one of these shells and determines that this is going to be meteor resistant because they keep having these unexpected meteor showers. They destroy everything on the planet. And he says no meteor will ever get through this, and he starts hitting it. And I think the meteor is going to be a little harder than you tapping on the shell.
Yeah, I was having a problem with that too.
then they build a shell. What about all the stuff they put they put it on sticks? So even if it's resistant to the meteor, the whole thing's going to come down anyway. But anyway, we just look past that stuff.
Yeah, I kind of like turn a blind eye to that. Like, what?
Yeah. Or the other thing that affects something as revered as 2001: A Space Odyssey, where they get so specific to make it relatable that they inadvertently date the film. So that we have Pan Am in 2001: A Space Odyssey or Ma Bell or whatever the Haywood Floyd calls out on something that's not around anymore.
In this film we have Pepsi.
We have Pepsi, which I think now the crazy thing is this movie's not even, it was set now from where we are. It's not even 70 years in the future at this point. Usually they shoot for the 25th century or something, but this one they said what year was it? It was 2092 at the beginning.
Never gonna happen.
So we're not even 70 years out from this movie. So
Never
Pepsi, I think Pepsi might make it.
Pepsi might make it. I don't think we're gonna be having fighter ships doing dogfights with alien nations like that.
But there were a couple other things they mentioned they mentioned the Houston Oilers, which isn't even around anymore. That's already gone. And I think he mentions Greyhound bus at a point. And we have Greyhounds now. He mentioned some kind of bus, but it's like I thought, wow, that's a bold move to mention something so specific. That I mean, how buses are. I mean, they just age horribly. The buses themselves, and I'm thinking they're going to be talking about they're going to have Greyhound buses in 2092 when they have interplanetary warfare.
Well, think about it, Ross. Too. This movie was shot in 84, 85.
Yeah.
So it was almost like 100 years out, and now it's almost like the halfway mark with it.
Yeah.
And it's like think about how far we've come since 1985.
Yeah. I know.
That says it all. How Bill said AI. Yeah.
Spooky.
AI is everywhere. There isn't a day that goes by that you don't hear about AI anymore.
Well, tell me about it. And it's getting pretty scary.
Really
I get
is.
stuff sent to me all the time from friends, and I'm just not amused by it. Like maybe they send it to me because they know it pisses me off.
I'm not amused, number one.
I think it's scary. I don't know.
It is scary.
Oh, disturbing. It's very disturbing.
That's probably a better word for it.
Yeah. But
it really, it's I don't know. I don't know where it's all going.
Yeah.
But it's funny, Ross.
What?
Talking about AI, if you actually go on to AI, because now AI is is incorporated into Google.
Okay.
And then if you go Ross Amico on Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi Corner, it'll say Ross Amico is a regular co-host on the online show Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi Corner, which is live streamed on platform like YouTube and Facebook. On the show, he and host Roy Belquist discuss science fiction films and related topics.
Well, at least they got it right that time. And there are a lot of times, because that's the first thing that comes up on the Google search, a lot of times it's completely incorrect. And I think, what? I hope people at least read down to Wikipedia if you're going to do it.
Amico brings his expertise in music, particularly film scores, to Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi Corner, frequently discussing the musical aspects of the films reviewed. He also co-hosts other related shows like Picture Perfect, a movie music show, and appears as a guest on other sci-fi discussion programs.
Oh, really?
You're an international star, Ross.
They must have like plucked me from. They must have seen some description from Captain Phil's Planet or something. Because as far and Mike and Mary Beth, Sci-Fi Distilled. Because as far as I know, this is the only show that I do.
Ross is making the rounds.
Yeah, I'm a dog, Roy. I'm a hound dog. Yeah.
And folks, that was our plug for this evening.
I go slinking around from the sci-fi show to sci-fi show behind your back.
We thought we would bring this to you now live as we're discussing, as opposed to waiting at the end of the show when we hit you with our shout outs.
Yeah. It's Bob Eubanks in the sci-fi dating game. Or what is that? What was the one where they had the couples come on all the time?
That was the Newlywed Game.
Newlywed Game. They always get in trouble because they
from Hollywood.
Yeah, right.
Here come the Newlyweds.
Yeah, we could have been on. We'd be up against Dennis Quaid and Lou Gossett.
Can you say Uncle Ross? Cracking myself up here. Martin said they still have Taco Bell and Demolition Man. And Leslie is out there. Welcome, Leslie. Good to see you out there.
That was so much a part of the Newlywed Game.
It was. Bob Eubanks. He always used to crack up.
It must have been in the user guide that Chuck Barris handed out. You got to use this on every episode.
Oh goodness. That's what we need to do, Ross. We have to do it. We'll go off topic with sci-fi, and we'll discuss all of the Chuck Barris game shows.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm game for that.
Top of my list is the Gong Show, which we're heading right there now. We're gonna get gonged.
Maybe on April Fool's Day or something.
There you go. Write it down, folks. But,
did you read anything at any point that Grace Jones was actually considered for the part that Lou Gossett played in this movie?
I saw that in passing. I didn't get into it.
And I don't know how much I should take that as with a grain of salt or not, but she was doing the James Bond movie around that time, so she turned it down. But that would have changed the whole dynamic of the movie.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think it worked better with a male in the part.
I agree.
Otherwise it would have had a whole other layer of it wouldn't be so awkward as being with another man who's having a baby. To have Grace Jones be that character. Yeah.
Leslie saying, how about a classic game show episode? There we go.
Sure, why not?
We could do that. I've actually been watching a lot of To Tell the Truth lately.
Anything that keeps us away from Orca.
Oh, Zems are fighting words, Ross. Bill's saying, was Chuck a hitman too? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was what was it? Sam Rockwell played him.
Yeah. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Yep.
I met Chuck Barris when he was promoting the book. He was at Borders in Philly because he's right. He lived right outside Philly.
You got to meet him. How was he?
He was really low key. And he really talked to me for a long time too. But he was just like, he says, I just know. He says, it's a big deal right now and everything. But he says, this stuff's so fleeting. He said, nobody's going to remember this in a couple of years. And, he was really philosophical about celebrity. And yeah.
He did. I used to love the Gong Show. That show was was so bad it just made me laugh. I mean,
No,
and it looked like
everybody's so stoned on that show.
I was just gonna say they were so wasted, and they had so much fun, and it was just They did. Do you remember the Gong Show movie? There we go. We could cover that.
Oh, there you go. No, I don't think I've ever seen it, but yeah.
Oh, do you remember J.P. Morgan?
Of course, she was on there all the time.
Oh my God!
Wasn't it Jamie Farr and
Jamie Farr was on there?
They did have guest.
They would have what was his Mean Gene Green
Dancing Machine?
Yep,
Mean Gene Dancing Machine. Yeah, and the Unknown Comic.
The Unknown Comic. Murray. What was his last name? Murray.
I don't remember anymore.
Murray Lang. Murray Lang. That seems to come to mind.
I don't remember anymore. I knew once.
Yeah, he was funny. Martin said you have to name that tune, but with TV and movie themes. Oh yeah,
that'll get us shut down.
We'll get shut down for sure on that one. That was, Ross, we did that like about 3 years ago already. Actually,
I know. I don't know what happened to all that youthful vigor, all that COVID vigor that we had.
Well, we're catching up right now because we're digressing way off topic. So
yeah, that's true. We haven't digressed this badly in a while. Sorry, that's the game show.
Oh my goodness, where's Linda? Yes, Murray Langston. Thank you, Bill. I couldn't think. I knew it was something like that. Yeah. We'll do something crazy and outrageous. I think it's time. We've been pretty straight laced and on track with a lot of stuff, but it's time. It's time we go through a drive-through and broadcast, remotely like we did a couple.
There you go.
But
let's get crazy.
Let's get crazy again. Yeah. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention too with the Star Trek connection, and this is not about story content. This is more about character, meaning actresses. Carolyn McCormick was one of.
I was trying to figure. I thought this couldn't be Ali Sheedy. I was like really looking because I said, was this before or after Breakfast Club? But I didn't see her name.
It remind me of Ali Sheedy. You're right. I see that.
Definitely. I mean, she had a very 80s look with the hair and everything.
Yeah, she played Minuet in Star Trek: The Next Generation 11-1100-1001 with the Binars first season episode. Also, if you're a Law and Order fan, she had a regular recurring role on that as well too. She was the psychologist on the show in the earlier episodes. But
and come on, I mean, you must have do you have a slide of Brian James or not? We can't talk about this movie and not have Brian James.
Let me say something about him. You talk about all-time villains and everything, and the guy that always he was the face that you would love to hate. And that would always pop up. I mean, I'm thinking of Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. He played Leon.
Leon, yeah.
But you couldn't have a movie in the '80s where he was not either the villain or the henchman.
Yep.
That you can't really see him in that picture that well. But
no, I have another photo of him. But he is. Here we go.
He made 100 films.
I saw that.
There he is on the right. You can really see him. Yeah.
Busy working actor, classically trained. I mean, theater actor.
Yeah, and all he got with these villainous roles.
Sadly,
he started. His parents owned a movie house.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he said he was projecting films from like the time he was a little kid. He's like, it was Cinema Paradiso. He's running the projector when he was 5 years old. So.
Yeah, he was a villain you love to hate, but he was so good. And sadly, I think he was only like 54 years old. He died of a heart attack in the 90s. Yeah,
still managed to make 100 films.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
and he even said, always, he's that guy. Absolutely, Gavin, totally. It's so good. But yeah, definitely Ross. I'm glad you brought him up because we definitely needed to mention him. Yeah.
Yeah, I miss him. Whenever he pops up in an older film, so it's Brian James. and I get more excited than his presence would really merit. It's like, why are you getting excited because Brian changes the movie? It's because it's that era.
It really is.
I love that era.
I do too. I miss it.
Yeah.
Did you have anything on Bumper?
Bumper.
Bumper Robinson as Zamus.
No, I didn't. There were so many actors in this that I didn't really look into. Oh my goodness! Oh, I totally forgot to look him up. No, what about him?
No, I was just curious. Your thoughts on him, and he did a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, I totally forgot to look him up. That's crazy. Yeah, that's because he's got a substantial role in the third act of the movie.
Yeah, he did. He was. I guess he was involved in the Transformer movies too. Believe it or not, he's 51 years old now. Which is, I mean, again,
figure to be. Yeah,
11 years old when he did the film. 10 years old when he did the film. But yeah, he's got a long list of credits, and among them, obviously, Enemy Mine. He also was on The Jeffersons, Hill Street Blues, Webster, Matt Houston. He did a lot of episodic television back in the day in the 80s. Give Me a Break, Cagney and Lacey, Night Court, The Facts of Life, Punky Brewster. So, definitely an 80s child actor. So
working actor, yeah. Lou Gossett did a lot of episodic television too, alongside of his film work.
Yeah, and also too, I didn't even put the connection with Star Trek because he did Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He did an episode. He was called The Abandoned, and this dealt with the Jem'Hadar. If you're a fan of Deep Space Nine, so a lot of Star Trek connections with this film.
Yeah, major omission on my part there. I'm sorry, I forgot to look him up. I forgot the character's name. And all I did was focus on, well, there's two people in this movie.
Yeah.
But not really. There are more than two people. What about the sudden, I thought it was, the execution sometimes was very, easy to predict, predictable, not a lot of surprises. But then suddenly they would come up with something out of nowhere, like the arrow through the neck, or somebody falling into the drill, or them finding the bloody ear.
That was like, what the heck?
And suddenly the movie like kind of lurches to life. It's like, ooh, this is interesting. This is unexpected.
But I liked the story though, in which he gets separated from Zamus. I mean, he's bringing up the boy. I mean, and now the boy is really growing quickly. Not like a human child, but
he's like Spock.
Regenerated
Spock.
Regenerated Spock. But he really bonds with him, and he refers to David as uncle. And unfortunately, the scavengers get him, and then when they do, and they think they've killed him. In fact, it was Brian James that takes him out, but David actually kills Brian James's, I guess, brother in the movie, who's another scavenger, but he's left for dead. And then he's rescued by his people, but rescued thinking that he's dead, meaning David. And then they find out that he's alive, and then he wants to go back, and they don't want to give him a ship. And they think he might be a double agent because he's speaking, the tongue of the Drax. And interesting, we didn't really cover about that too, the lineage. One of the things that that Jerry, Louis Gossett Jr.'s character, does is right before he gives birth, he makes David promise to go to the council and speak the words of his lineage, because that way he'll be accepted. Zamus will be accepted as the Drax. And they are learning each other's language throughout the time, because they're together for, I think, about a period of almost like 3 years. And it's very well done too, because David is kind of like holding off as far as like, wanting to do that. And then what happens is Jerry says, tell me about your family's lineage. And then he goes, to talk about his parents, that his father works for a computer company. His mom, before his mom and dad were married, his mom was a waitress. And what was it? Carl and Dolores. Carl was his father's name. Dolores was the mother's name. And then he talks about his grandpa was a farmer, and then his mom, his grandmother was a good cook.
Right.
And he says, to him after he tells him all that, he said, Jerry says back to him, he goes, "That is your lineage," and he makes it, very special. And then he tells about his, which is like all encompassing, and it goes back so far, but he learns it because he respects it. And then he makes him promise that he'll take care of Zamas, and that one day he will, bring him to the council. And it's a very, it's a special moment.
It's almost biblical, because it's always, they always say so and so, son of so and so, son of so and so, and that's how they do the lineage. And I totally forgot to mention the religious implications of the story, because Jerry's character has that little book that he refers to, and is almost a religious ritual.
Yeah.
And it made me think of, because it was almost named like the Talmud. I can't remember what it was called. It was the They changed the end of it, but it had like kind of a Jewish resonance. But there's also in Muslim religion, they're supposed to pray toward Mecca 5 times a day, in a kind of ritualistic observation. So it had that kind of overtone to it, resonance to it, even though it's a made-up alien religion. It just kind of had roots in something that we would recognize here. And that was another way that they bonded, because he requested, Dennis Quaid's character requested that he be taught this, and he's given the book as kind of a disciple. It's also got philosophical, it's not just religion, but the philosophy. But the guy who they keep mentioning, he's kind of like a prophet almost, and that was the credo that the Drax lived by, was this guy's, and it turned out that some of the truths, the golden rule was there in the Drac religion, and Jerry, Lou Gossett says, well, of course we've got it because it's, and of course you've got it because it's truth,
right.
It's universal.
Truth. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Truth is truth.
Yeah. Truth is truth.
Yeah.
So that kind of landed, Yeah.
No, huge. That was huge. Yeah. It's interesting. And I was saying this to Shari. Do you remember, and I don't know if you may or may not, and actually I might even have it. Do you remember Joe? And I always refer to Joe's cousin, Joe Metz. Do you remember Joe writing a story about the Drex? Do you remember that?
The Drex? I'm not sure. The Trypanosomans I remember, but I'm not sure. It could be, though.
The Drex was something that it was one of those stories that he wrote, and it would have been in, my God, I'm going to say it was either 7th or 8th grade. So I'm talking
an X or a CKS at the end.
It was, I think he spelled it Drex. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was probably in 78, 79 that he wrote it. And they were like these creatures. And then when I heard the Drax, I was like, whoa. and that was, this movie was after that Joe, had wrote that. So
yeah.
But
I wonder if they got it from Dracula.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to ask
only because because I think it's supposed to have a relation to dragon or what have you, or at least they try to insinuate that it has that connection. Not Stoker, but other sources. That it has that tie into the Romanian thing with Vlad the Impaler. But yeah,
connections.
Yeah. Transylvania. Yeah.
But next time I talk to Joel, I'll mention that.
Yeah. I remember a lot of his stuff, but I remember it wasn't one of the York Fassoni stories then.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
York Fassoni. That is a name I have not heard in a long time.
I love those stories.
Yeah.
It's a shame he burned all of them.
I know, and it's like 45 years ago. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like a lifetime ago. We were like 12, 13 years. Oh my God.
I burned nothing, so I'm gonna have. There's gonna be so many humiliating things everybody finds when I die.
Well, truth be
Stuff I
told,
wrote in grade school. Yeah,
I saved some of Joe's stuff that almost made it to the trash bin. So,
well,
but we won't talk about that because
we
don't
won't
want
talk about that right now.
But anyway, no,
Anyway.
this film it had some really. I mean, again, those were the special moments, and you know he's separated, and he goes back for him though. He goes back for Zamus, and he steals a ship, and he gets back to the planet, and you know it's like a slave camp because the scavengers have essentially put the Drax to work, and they're slaves, working them as slaves, and he's trying to find Zamus, and then when he speaks to, you know, some of the Drax are just basically ignoring him, and I think they almost were going to battle him, but then he speaks Drax to them, and then they realize in conversation that he is quote unquote uncle because they know him from Zamus, and he's there to find him, and he does, and he, you know, he even says to him, "I told you I would, you know, I wouldn't leave you," and he comes back for him, and it's pretty powerful.
Here's another Star Trek connection. There are three of these novellas written by what was his name again? Longear, Barry Longear. But when the movie came out, which often happens, there's a novelization that they write after the movie that ties into the movie. And Longear collaborated on the novelization with David Gerrold.
Oh,
so if you can find the Enemy Mine novelization there, you would have that as a little appendix to Trouble with Tribbles and Star Trek.
Well, you know, and interesting enough too, David Gerrold now lives, you know, he resides on the East Coast, and he frequents the Star Trek set tour, the original series set tour in Ticonderoga, New York. In fact, I believe he's gonna be up there next week and I'm not gonna be able to go, but he's gonna be up there for William Shatner weekend. So the next time, and he's gonna be there next year. Obviously, the 60th anniversary of Trek is here. So the next time I'm up there and I see him, I will mention that to him and bring that up. So that's pretty cool. So thank you for pointing that out. That'll be a great conversation piece.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be thrilled.
Well, yeah.
But sure,
he'll nod.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I have one other thing I want to show, Ross, and then I know we'll want to get to the music, but. If you remember Starlog back in the day, everyone would always like to give a nod. Starlog issue number 102, and right on the cover, exclusive on alien locations for sci-fi epic Enemy Mine. So that was Starlog 102.
Oh my goodness! Amazing stories there at the
Amazing
top.
Stories, yeah.
Young
right.
Sherlock Holmes.
Star Trek's Kirstie Alley.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Santa Claus. I assume that's Santa Claus the movie with Dudley Moore. Yeah.
Randy, best line in the movie. Right after they crash. Well, at least it's not New Jersey.
There you go.
Yes, the ending was beautiful. I agree, Leslie. And this movie made me cry. This movie made me tear as an adult, Leslie. So absolutely, with different parts of it. I'm a sap. But I'm going to jump ahead to.
It's good for a movie to have heart.
It is.
Yeah.
The musical composer Maurice Jarre.
Yes, Maurice Jarre. As you would guess from the name, he's a French-born composer, born in Lyon. He studied at the Sorbonne. He was going to be an engineer, and then he decided, no, I want to be a composer. So he dropped out and entered the Paris Conservatory and studied composition there, and especially focused on percussion for his instrument. So I just thought of it. I didn't pull the disc, but I only just thought that I have a CD of his concert works here that he wrote, and they are for percussion. It's got an instrument on here called the On Martineau, which is an electronic instrument that sounds like a theremin. But it's played differently. it's got a keyboard and a ring that you slide across the back. But anyway, so he did a piece for Martineau and percussion, and he's this has a lot of his percussion stuff on it. But anyway, he's primarily known for the David Lean movies. He won 3 Academy Awards, and all of them were for big David Lean epics: Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Zhivago, Passage to India. But he's been in movies. He was working in movies since the late 50s. The earliest film that I recognize that I had seen is a French movie called Eyes Without a Face, which Billy Idol took the song for the title for his song. But yeah, it's a creepy horror movie that he wrote the music for. But in 1962, he wrote 8 film scores in 1962, including Lawrence of Arabia, which is insane that he did 8 movies, and The Longest Day were both in 62. So, I mean, he became like a front rank composer, I think, at that point. And he did so many classic movies, or movies you would recognize. He did The Train with Burt Lancaster. He did The Collector with Terrence Stamp. He did Dr. Zhivago, as I said, The Professionals, which is one of my favorite Westerns. Is Paris Burning, Grand Prix, The Man Who Would Be King in the 70s with Connery and Kane. Top Secret with Val Kilmer and Passage to India. Witness, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Dead Poets Society.
Wow, Dead Poets Society.
Yeah. Fatal Attraction, Gorillas in the Mist. Ghost was one of his late films, the one with Patrick Swayze. Yeah, so, and for TV, he did Jesus of Nazareth, which was the Franco Zeffirelli miniseries that everybody was in, and Shogun, the one with Richard Chamberlain. Right,
that was 83, I think. That came out.
So he was
he wasn't lazy. He was busy.
He's not to be sneezed at. Yeah, he was a top rank film composer, and here he is doing Enemy Mine. From Lawrence of Arabia to Enemy Mine.
But you know what? I really thought the music is poignant the right word. It really worked. It really conveyed the emotion of the moment that was being visualized or that was transpiring on the screen. I thought he did a really good job with that. I enjoyed the music personally.
Yeah. It just it always seems to happen with these guys that they have such monumental successes earlier in their careers, and then suddenly they're doing 80s movies. I think of like Elmer Bernstein doing the 10 Commandments and the Magnificent Seven and To Kill a Mockingbird, and then suddenly he's doing Animal House and Ghostbusters and Heavy Metal the movie.
No, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But so overall, to start to wind things down, Ross, did you what would you say? Yay or nay?
I yay it. I yayed it when I first saw it too. I didn't think it was the greatest thing, but I mean, it's good to have a movie that has heart, and that aspect of it, I celebrate. And I thought that Lou Gossett had a good part in it. I thought they both worked well together. I thought that they were a good match, Dennis Quaid and Lou Gossett in this movie. So yeah, I mean, I would recommend it. I saw that they always say they're going to, but I see that somebody wants to do a remake of it.
In fact, I was reading that I think it was Terry Matalas who actually was the show runner for Star Trek Picard for the 3rd season, and that he was talking about doing this film. And I liked what he did with Star Trek Picard for the third season. I thought he did a good job. But the only thing is, there's some movies it's like I almost would just leave alone though, and I think this might be one of them personally. But
it'll be interesting because if they do remake it and they do stick close to the original, there's going to be a lot of political hand grenades thrown that weren't there the first time around, even if it was just the same script.
Right, exactly.
It's like that it wasn't intended.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some things just I don't know, but
yeah.
I mean, I get it, but Gavin commented. He said, Jerry Goldsmith, John Williams monopolized film scores. Yeah, we've talked about them a lot on this show, Gavin. And but very true. Leslie said you guys should do Fantasia and Fantasia 2000.
I'd love to do Fantasia, but
yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, no, that's 1930s, isn't it, Ross?
I think it was 1940 when it was released.
Oh, okay.
But they started making in the 30s. Yeah.
30s, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely I think it holds up with certain aspects of it. And again, what I said originally when we started the show, I really feel that unfortunately the marketing for this film, I just went in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But hey, Dennis, thanks for joining us. Good to see you out there. Dennis.
Hey, Dennis.
Canada. Welcome.
If they do remake it, I hope they refine the script a little bit. You know, the stuff that Lou Gossett gets is pretty good. Yeah. You know, with the stuff with the philosophical and religious stuff. But as far as the banter back and forth, I think they can tighten that up a little bit. I mean, it was amusing, the whole thing with Mickey Mouse and all that stuff. They can keep that if they want. But
yeah,
the story is good.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the shout outs, Russ, but I'm just going to do this really quickly because I know we're on time. So I'm going to go directly to you tonight and let everybody know what you got going on.
Ouch. What do I have? What time is it right now?
Right now it is 8:53 p.m.
Well, my Copeland show is just ending on Picture Perfect. I had all film scores by Aaron Copeland tonight. It's Copeland's 125th birthday. Sweetness and Light tomorrow. It's the what do I call it? The I don't know. It's like a shadows or lengthening thing. The days grow shorter. It's called, and it's all movies about sunset and dusk and times of day. That's the light music program tomorrow morning on Sweetness and Light. And the Lost Chord tomorrow night is music by Ukrainian composers, classical music by a couple of composers. You know, Reinhold Glier was born in Kyiv. And I've got a piece about the Cossacks that he wrote and a symphony by one of his pupils, Boris Lyadashinsky. So that's tomorrow night at 7:00 Eastern on the Lost Chord. I write about these things on my Facebook page at Classic Ross Amico. You can check in there the day that the show's there. I tease them on there. Oh, and I haven't mentioned it yet because it's not ready to go, but it's getting there. I've got a website that I'm developing, and it's essentially it's ready, but we're still getting the bugs out of it. And I'll mention that, I'll let you know when that's up and running. There are a lot of features on there that tie into the radio show and everything else that I do. Anyway, the show's air at the times indicated here. And again, you can check my Facebook page at Classic Ross Amico.
Very cool. Thanks. And absolutely, Ross, I'm very excited about you having a website. So that'll be great to hear. And definitely, I'm sure a lot of folks out there will be interested in
everything that I've ever written on Facebook going back to 2014 is on that website.
Wow.
Every single post that I wrote is on there.
To quote Vader, impressive.
Yeah.
Most impressive.
Well, I can't take credit for that part, but the guy I have working with me is a genius. So.
That's awesome. No, hey, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So with that said, Ross and I, well, actually, first off, this Sunday, I'm going to be doing a special show, and it will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is going to be Sunday, November 16th. And it will be, my guest co-host will be Gordon Moriguchi from from Space 1999 Props and Ships. And we are going to be discussing the Italian film, which is Spazio 1999. And if you're a Space 1999 fan, and especially if you're from Italy, this was the first release of Space 1999 back in 1975, and it was released in Italy, and it was a compilation of 3 episodes. It was Breakaway, Ring Around the Moon, and also Another Time, Another Place. So Gordon and I are going to be talking about that. And then he's also going to be giving an update about Space 1999 merchandise, and we will be covering all that in the first half of the show. And then for the second half, we will be welcoming a special guest who is... Are you ready? Are you hanging? David Hirsch from Starlog Magazine. So he'll be joining us as well, too. So
and Ennio Morricone did the music for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
which I didn't know until you and I, reunited and started talking about Space 1999. I had no idea that he had scored a Space 1999 movie.
It's very interesting to watch that movie, and that'll be part of what we'll be talking about too with that music, because it's a totally different vibe. But yeah, it's interesting. And then Ross and I will be back next Friday, which is going to be the 21st. I'm not sure what we're going to be discussing, so stay tuned on that. And then on Sunday, November 23rd, I'm very excited also to be welcoming as a very special guest, actress Carolyn Seymour. She will be coming to the show, and she will be discussing her career. And as many science fiction fans will know, she did actually a television show in 1975 that was called Survivors, which deals with a plague that kind of really wipes out man or humankind. And that was actually televised 50 years ago. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about her involvement in Space 1999. Also, she was heavily involved in episodes of Star Trek, The Next Generation, also Voyager, Star Trek Voyager. And then also talking about her career too. I mean, she did a lot of different episodic television. And again, mark your calendar. Now, that is going to be a special time. I have on there Sunday, November 23rd, which is correct. However, it is going to be at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So that is a correction I need to put up there. And just so everybody knows, because of the time difference, and she is going to be joining us from Europe. So just so everybody knows that. That's what happens when you do these slides and it's very late at night. And I don't want to mess that up. So again,
you're working with a template and you just change things and you forget to
change.
Yeah.
But not a mistake to make, but I did. Mm-hmm. So anyway, yep. And that is that for now. And let me see here. I think I did that. Yes. So yeah, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, or actually 5 p.m. And anything else going on, Ross, that you wanted to share?
No, I'm just thought that I would look up and see if I could come up with that. I guess asexual reproduction is probably what it was. So there you go. Yeah, but parthenogenesis is one of the things that. Anyway,
that's what we were talking about from.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, I just typed it in. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Enemy mine.
It's a wrap.
Which is at least a little more interesting than my enemy. It is interesting though that I read that at one point the studio wanted them to put in an actual mine, as in something that blows things up, because they were afraid the audience wouldn't. They'd be looking for the mine since it was enemy mine. Well, where is the enemy mine?
Well, that makes sense, right? Because people do inquire about that and ask that, right?
But, my enemy mine. They're trying to make it a little more poetic than just my enemy, or where's the mine?
Did you ask that question, Ross?
What a whip job! Yeah, it was a riot of one, Roy.
What was that?
It was a riot of one. I said, "Where's my mine?"
A riot of one.
A riot of one. Yeah, just like when I saw Batman. It was a riot of one.
And which Batman was that?
Oh, the Michael Keaton one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The last one I saw in the theater.
Was it really?
I think so. Oh, no, I saw Batman 2 in the theater. I don't know why. Did I see it with you? I didn't see it with you. I saw it with some people that wanted to see it. So.
Yeah.
Batman Returns. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Awesomeness.
All right, let's let these people go. They got lives.
No. Anyway, Sherry's saying great show. Thanks, hon.
Thanks, Sherry.
We appreciate it. And as we always like to say, live long and prosper, everybody.
Live long and prosper.
Take care, everyone, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Not a good weekend. Great weekend.